Just hanging out.
Sick with it. Cool, daddy-o. Ready to fool around. Ready to kick back, kick some heels. Aha! Welcome back to Just Hanging Out. Cowboy the Cowboy, Kyle fucking Hurley. And of course, we got a little special segment today.
Special ed.
Special. We got Zakariah Hezekiah here. We're
Woo! The one you know.
One-on-one interview with him. Get to know the Zakariah Hezekiah. Get to know the God, the Lord, the prophecy.
Yes, sir.
Gonna get into his background a little bit, tell you about his little things, his passions. We're gonna go into passions a lot. I love talking about people's passions. It's a great thing. It's a great thing to know. Okay, maybe we'll get a little bit of religion, really get a little crazy, step on some toes.
I might make people upset, but it's what I'm here to do.
It's what he's here to do. He's make you mad. I'm
the
here
Lord
to make
set
you
me
glad.
here to piss the world off, just like Eminem.
Awesome, Zakariah Hezekiah.
Yes, sir.
Here's the first question for you. It's going to be an easy one, and maybe a lot of people have heard people say this before, but who do you think you are?
That's actually a very loaded question.
Very loaded question.
It's so simple, but yet so philosophical. Just very much as the question why.
Yeah.
Because you can go deep into that. Who I am, I think when you ask that question, people it changes throughout. Everybody has things that they're inherent, that they are inherently. Some people are born liars, cheaters, overly honest, pushovers, aggressive, anything like that. And those traits will develop over life, and how you use them is how you use them. But I'd like to say that I'm a very down-to-earth person, always looking for the truth about everything. And sometimes it gets me in trouble. I don't like... I have this weird obsession with I don't like not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
And it goes with everybody. Anybody I've ever met, anybody I've ever around, I want to know everything about them. The one people are like, well, you shouldn't ask those questions. I'm like, well, why shouldn't I?
Right.
I think I should know if I'm spending time with someone, who I'm spending time with. And if you feel that you can't tell me what you're doing or who you are or why you do it, it's not like I'm asking you, when you fuck your wife, how many times she come? No, I'm not asking that. I'm like, I want to know, what do you do for a living? How much do you make?
Right.
What are your goals in life? Those are things that I should know about someone if I'm going to spend my time with them, because especially I'm 31. In 9 years, I'm going to be celebrating my 40th birthday. Time is everlasting, but it goes by real quick.
Right.
And I don't want to be around people that maybe don't share the same goals or ideas as I have, because I spent a lot of time doing that and wondering why my life wasn't progressing.
Yeah. You've always been the guy that's the question asker, man. He's the question master. You got questions, he's the guy. He's going to ask them. Fucking, I've always had, there's been other people that's like, why the fuck's that kid talking so much? Why is he talking so much? I don't know, man. I don't really know. He knows, because he wants to get to know you. Wants to get deep down inside you, know who the fuck you are. Does he want to be around you? Does he not want to be around you? You going to fuck him, or is he going to fuck you?
I might fuck him. But I think it also is just, I do talk a lot, but I think that's my nervous trait, where some people become very introverted when they get nervous and they don't want to talk or be around anybody, whereas me, I'm very much, when I'm very nervous, how you could tell I'm very nervous is I'm talking to everyone, I'm making jokes, I'm being not outlandish, but very grandiose in my behavior, because that's how I connected as a kid. Like, that's how, I moved around. I went to seven different elementary schools as a kid until I came here. And if I didn't talk to anybody, I had no friends.
Right.
And, I was always the first one to sit down next to everybody, talk to them, crack jokes. But at the end of the day, those were my, coping mechanisms of being the new guy, or just being in a situation where I feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
Hey, he's a perfectionist, guys. You gotta let perfection run its
I'm gonna
course.
stop freaking out about this. All right, cool. Yeah. I figured I'd put that one out there. It's a very, I guess in a sense, a loaded question, but it gets asked around sometimes as a joke, But I like throwing.
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are, motherfucker?
I've had that asked by people that are mad at me, and I'm like, well, who do you think you are?
Well, so with that, I know you're going about into your childhood with moving around from schools. Let's go into the past. Let's go into the past of Zakariah Hezekiah growing up in the Greenlands of Florida. Tell us a little about it.
I was born in Halloween, 1992, in a town called West Palm Beach. That was a shithole when I was born there, but now they've pumped billions of dollars in there. Thank you, DeSantis. My mother was a nurse, and my father was a professional musician. My mom met him at a club, and my dad needed a place to stay because he was staying in Florida permanently. And they hit it off, and they had me. The only problem is my dad and my mom's personality is not good together. I don't remember a time where they weren't fighting when I was around them. They were only together for a year, but I have memories of my mom dropping me out to see him, and them just automatically like arguing right away. But yeah, I just, my mom basically had custody of me, but my mom was very sordid. It's weird because any of like the savvy or sales ability I have comes from my mom because she'd get me to do these fucking grifts and cons in order to get ahead in life. And my mom and I either had an apartment and it was a cool, cushy situation, or we're living in a car under a bridge, or we're living in shelters and I'm getting bag lunches and shitty toys from some random person.
Yeah.
My mother was a drug addict, and I'm just going to put that out there. She got a nursing degree in the late 70s. She was very pretty, and, she partied with all the doctors, cocaine and Quaaludes. That was the prescription right there.
Cocaine and Quaaludes.
And I would like to try Quaaludes. Too bad you can't find them, but that shit look
no more.
I mean, Leo and the Wolf of Wall Street really made that shit look cool.
They made it pop, man.
I'm just joking. It was litty. No, I was joking. She was partying with those guys, and my mom was very much loved being around people that were successful. It made her feel successful. It made her feel important. And my mom had this kind of like everlasting feeling that she was very important and very important to me. But I think it's very selfish to think that you're more important than anybody else.
Yeah.
But anyways, my mother took me away from my father when I was 6 years old. She basically told me that he was dead. My dad had moved up here to have a better life. He's still an incredible musician, but he gave away the permanent professional rock musician type thing. And that idea, that want kind of went away when I was born. So he moved back up here to Illinois, got a job at Miller Beer, and was a truck driver. And he's just about to retire, about 28 years in the union. And, my mom would send me up here periodically to see him. And when I was 6 years old, I came up here for Christmas. And it was my grandmother, who I didn't know was dying at the time, but thinking back to the way she looked, she was dying from cancer.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be, I was her first legitimate grandchild, so that she wanted me to be there for everything because they didn't know how much time she had. I don't remember when she died, but I knew it wasn't, if I remember correctly, it wasn't too much longer after that. So right time. Came home, my mom told me that my dad was dead. And I didn't know really what to believe. I just believed my mommy and just went from there. And
my kid.
Yeah.
It's just a boy.
And at those times, there was times where we really would have needed my father. Living in shelters, living in cars. I spent my 7th birthday in the back of a 1998 coupe Geostorm with my mother with a ho-ho as my birthday and a candle. And that was my birthday, And the thing is, it's amazing how you can be happy in those situations because you don't know a life that's different. I didn't really know what a family life was until I came here, until I was with my stepmom, my dad, and my brothers. I didn't know, that it wasn't normal for my mother to sleep for 3 days in a row or be in her bed all day and be fucked up on drugs, but I didn't know she was fucked up on drugs, And, there was times I can tell you where my mom was really a hustler and bustler. She really could work people. I mean, if my mom would have fucking paid it, really put energy into doing better things, she could have been the president. I mean, she was very intelligent, had 135 IQ, was a member of she did get accepted to Mensa, but she never went anywhere farther with that. I don't know if you know what Mensa is. For anybody that doesn't know, Mensa is like a society, a club for people that have a certain level of IQ for them to get together and discuss things and whatever. I don't know. I'm not a part of it, so I don't know. But, she decided to be very shady about a lot of things she did, and she would get me involved in a lot of cons. I mean, one that always brings me up is one that always gets brought up to me is she was dope sick because she was a big opiate head. She wasn't a heroin addict, but she did a lot of pills. I didn't know this. I thought she just had the flu. Again, I didn't know what the fuck that was at that age. And she was throwing up constantly. We were trying to find a place to stay, and we found this really shitty Indian-owned hotel. And I'm talking... What's worse, hotel or motel? What's the one
motel.
Where it was a motel?
Motels are fucked.
It was a motel for sure.
Yeah.
And this place was like $30 a night, that kind of shit.
Hello, thank you.
And then even granted, if you need 3 hots and a cot and you need to leave, then fine,
Right.
it's fine. But even in their suite, there wasn't like a refrigerator or anything. We were using like ice buckets and filling with ice and putting our food in there. And it worked though. It was pretty efficient. Not gonna lie. But the only nice thing about this entire place was their beds.
Yeah.
They had these old oak wood frames and old oak wood backings, this thick. And I was jumping on the bed one day, and the fucking oak wood backing fell on the bed. Missed me probably by a couple inches. And I was sitting there. And I remember, I'll never forget, I was looking at my mom while she was laying on the bed. She was looking at me, looking at the board, looking at me, looking at the board. And I thought, okay, she's freaking out. She's like, wow, if that would have hit you, we could have got some serious shit out of there. And I really didn't know what to think, so she devised this plan. So I laid in the bed while she smacked me in the face with a can to, like, give me a black eye and blues. And this whole side of my orbital was, like, fucking huge. And basically had those Indian guys come up here and say, listen, my son got hit by this thing. If you don't give us this, this, and this, and free this, we're going to call the cops. I'm telling you, man, those guys got in their carpet and fucking boo out of that fucking room and gave us free towels, free soap, free everything. 4 months not paying any fucking... They were scared. And there was a lot of things like that. My mom would... she used to have this book called The Anarchist Cookbook.
Yeah.
And she would...
know about it.
Yeah, I mean, and she would read things. We would get free cable sometimes. You know, she would have me. She only dated one dude really that I remember that was significant after my father, and you know they broke up, horrible breakup, and she would have me climb through his window and steal his credit cards and stuff, and we'd buy. And like these are things where I think back. I'm like, you know, when you ask the question, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
That's not who I am.
Right.
And, you know, you just do what your parents tell you. And this is why, you know, I get afraid by telling people these things because they automatically start thinking, you know, he's a thief. He's going to steal from me. It's like, no, I just went through those things. And I'm fortunate that I went through those things because it taught me some skills to get my ability to sell and get people to do what I want. It's a good thing. But, you know, it taught me that, you know, there's many ways to survive. And, you know, taught me what not to be as a parent. Like, my mother, I sometimes really believe, because she pulled the same shit with my older brother, James. He's 12 years older than me. But she did the same thing with him. Little cons, got him to do stupid shit. And she was more ruthless because she was younger when she had him. My brother and I are 12, like I said, 12 years apart. She had him when she was like 27. She had me when she was almost 39.
Yeah.
So she was 25 when she had him, and she was 37 when she had me. So she was younger, a lot prettier, a lot more conniving, a lot more scheming. She would do all sorts of fucking crazy shit. And, you know, I mean, even so to the point where she one time, I was like 6 years old. I should have won an Oscar for this performance. I think you know what I'm getting into.
Yeah, I know what you're going to.
And it's you gotta laugh at these things. It's very horrid. You know, when I tell people about these stories, they always get like, "Oh, it's like, nah, I don't want you to fuck it." It's not. There's people that are going way worse shit than I am right now.
You don't want the pity, man. Pity's fucked.
She had me. We were living in this place, a loft, and we were like few months behind in rent, and she was trying to say that my disabilities were keeping her from working as much, thus she couldn't pay for her bills. So she got a wheelchair from the hospital that she was working at, and had me act retarded in front of a judge in a court of law in Florida. And guess what? We got free rent.
You got it.
Because your boy can act. No, I tell you right now, I was drooling and everything, dude. She even put
this boy the role of Special Jack.
Dude, she put like a helmet on me and cut my hair all fucked up, like in South Park, dude, when he acts retarded and takes my hair. My hair was all fucked up, and like she took like my spit and put it in my hair, so I looked like I was really like retarded, you know?
Yeah.
And just being like, you know, I'm doing this. And my mom being so happy when everything worked out and congratulating me, and takes me like Wendy's to eat because I loved Wendy's as a little kid. And I'm like sitting there, and I'm thinking back now, I'm like, man, I was sitting there with a helmet on my head, eating Wendy's with a fucked up spitty ass haircut, looking like an idiot, dude. Like, what the fuck? Why would you do that why would you put your child through that no matter what? And I do think that my mother was into like witchcraft and Wicca and everything, which Wicca is a very beautiful religion. I'm not discrediting anybody that did that, but my mother used it for for way different reasons. And I personally think, and a lot of witches were known to do this, she birthed my brother and I, even though she may have loved us, to be her familiars.
Yeah.
To be do her little biddings, do what she wanted. I mean, when I was 5, 6 years old, I was cooking breakfast for her in bed. She would sleep in bed for days. I was doing all sorts of stuff for her. Same with my brother. Exact same situation. And I think that she literally just had us to have someone that it's easy to pull schemes off when you have a little kid and get the little kid to do it, because people don't think little kids are doing shit like that.
Right. I mean, as you're growing up as an adult and whatnot, and being the man you are, I know you better than most people do and whatnot. And I don't hang out with scumbags. I don't think you're a scumbag. What do you think kept you away from becoming? Because you could have easily just grown up to be this drug addict, thief, fucking psychopath, taking advantage of everybody and whatnot. Because it's kind of what you grew up knowing, in a sense. So what kept you from just basically becoming that?
I think my soul.
Yeah.
My soul kept me from doing that, because you know what's wrong, what's right. And again, I was just a product of being with my mother, and then my father getting custody at 11. It was a learning process when I came here, man. I was still trying to pull the same shit I pulled with my mom. I didn't have manners when I came here.
No.
I came from nothing, doing whatever I wanted, leaving whenever I wanted to, no elbows on the table, and chew with your mouth closed. And that was as much as that's simple, it was a very culture shock. It was very, very hard when I first came here to live with my dad, because my dad's very old school.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my ass kicked many times. And granted, I'm not saying my dad abused me. I definitely deserved it. But I'm just saying that, I had a lot of... learning curves in that aspect. But I think a lot of had to do with that, and just the feeling inside of like when and I don't care how crazy you are, even serial killers know what they're doing is wrong because they're hiding what they're doing. You know inherently when you're doing something wrong and how you want to be. And then, as a kid, you see families. You know, when I was going to school, I'd see families, mom and dads, people that were part of PTO, kids that were going with their parents to sporting events and stuff. My mom never did me those things with me. And, I never told my mom these things, but I wanted that so bad. I wanted to have the mom that was involved in all this stuff. My mom never went to the beach with me, never did those kind of things with me. And, she wasn't all bad. I'm not trying to say shit on my mom. I love my mom, and I miss her very dearly. She passed away 10 years ago. Actually, it's about to be 11 next month. But there was an unconscious feeling of I'm missing out on what a family should be at a very early age, and I knew that I saw how other kids were. Other kids weren't doing that stuff. When I would tell stories like this to other kids, they'd tell their parents, and then the kids weren't allowed to hang out with me anymore.
Yep.
And
I know what that feels like in a sense, dude. Just growing up, not me, but my siblings getting the result of me doing fucked up shit. But this isn't about me.
and I think then, like I said, when I came here, and then seeing my stepmother, who's a fucking rock star, she's half mom, half for she was a head project manager for a major tropical plant company. So basically anything that for instance, like the cruise ships, they have like all the flowers, all that shit. Most of the Royal Caribbean cruise ships, I guarantee you, she was a part of. And seeing her then come home to cooking and cleaning and doing all the mom stuff, being a part of every school meeting, and me not even being her real blood, she treated me like I was and still does to this day. That helped me a lot too. I saw the difference where I was like, shit, this is what a mom does,
Right.
And at reality, my mom had me until I was 11. This woman raised me until I moved out when I was 22. And she still is there for me. So technically she's raised me longer than my mother had. And I consider her, it's sometimes hard. I almost do call her mom, but then I get this whole disrespect to my real mom type thing. And so I don't do that. But, she really kind of taught me about what a real parent does. And that kind of pushed me in the aspect of, I got to be a better person. And there's so much more to life than where you're at, from where I was at. I mean, I can't believe it. One day I was living in my dad. What caused everything is my dad found me after 6 years. Found me one day, came to the door. I opened the door. It's my dad. Mind fuck.
Chad had been a little bit funky, dude. Especially thinking your dad's been dead. You're like, oh, you're going out, and then this big man just comes over to the door. I'm your puppy.
And I knew who he was. I recognized him right away. But I just closed the door. I didn't know what to do. I was like, fuck. So I called my mom to come over. And it was the first time I saw my mother, and I think everybody has this situation with their parent where you see him as a failure, as a person.
All right.
And I saw my mother for the first time as a fuck up. Like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
And I didn't ask her. I never asked her. I don't think ever, about that because I just didn't want to know the reasoning behind it because I don't think she really could give me an honest answer that made sense to me. Because there were times where we really, really needed help, dude. Like, really, we were bad in a bad situation. Like, having your shit thrown out in eviction situations, having no money, having no food, going to fucking a 7-Eleven and buying those dollar hot dogs back when they were that cheap and putting as much chili as you could on there because you didn't know if you were going to eat.
Yeah.
Like, and it never lasted that long, maybe a couple months. But it's just like, I always had this, like, why did you do that? Why did you hurt my father so much to do that? Why did you do that to me? And my father could have been like, fuck it, I got 2 stepkids, got a new wife, my kid, whatever. I would have never known the difference. But my father told me I couldn't live in this world knowing that my son was out there not knowing where I was.
Good dad.
Yeah, and that's where the respect comes because my dad got custody of me because what my mom did is she kept pushing off the court dates. So she would be like, oh, I'm sick or this or that. And then this was the icing on the cake. We lived in this hotel called the Coral Sands in Ormond Beach, and this was the last place we lived in before my dad got custody of me. And I used to go. I was friends with all the maintenance guys because I talked to everyone. My mom used to call me the mayor for a reason, and they showed me how to get to the top of the roof because you're by the beach. So if you're on top of this 20 floor, 10, 15 floor building at night or in the morning, you could see everything on the ocean line, everything on the roads. It was one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. So I'd go up there all the time because I've always enjoyed things like that. And during all this court battle stuff, I'm really freaking out because my mom's telling me all these bad things about my dad. My mom's, also losing everything. We have nothing. We're getting kicked out of this hotel pretty soon. And I'm just like, dude, I need to think and get away from all this. So I go up there. Somebody sees me go up there and says that I'm trying to kill myself.
Oh,
and
shit.
I have cops there. There's like 3 cops there. They're talking to me. One guy comes up. He's like, hey, little guy, how you doing? I'm like, I'm fine. I was very
so confused. You're like,
well, I thought I was getting in trouble.
just looking.
I thought I was getting in trouble. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, okay, whatever's going on, buddy, everything's okay. And I'm like, okay. I was very, very confused. So they equated it to me trying to kill myself.
Yeah.
My mom's downstairs screaming and crying and everything. She's making a big scene out of this. They bring me down, bring me to this place, and this old fucking counselor ignores everything that I say and is like, yep, he's suicidal. We're going to put him away. They put me in a fucking psych ward for a week, dude. A week with people that were way worse than me, dude. I heard this one chick. She had straight, long black hair that covered her face. She looked like the chick from fucking It. And she had literally like a trail on both arms from here up to here of just cut. Scar. And like they're like, well, who here has tried to commit suicide? She's like, I have. And I'm sitting there like, I feel like a piece of shit being here.
Right.
And I'm like sitting in this this like room, and they're giving me shitty food, and like there's this one kid that I was roommates with who was a total psychopath. So they threw him in the fucking like straight the padded room every day, and he would call the orderlies the N-word all the time because they're all black guys. It was like really intense. Like I was like, I don't know why I'm here. And my dad and my stepmom came to visit me. My dad's like freaking out because he thinks I'm trying to kill myself, and I had to like have a conversation with him. Like, I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
And like when you're in the situation, all these people are in their head think that you're going to kill yourself, that you are mentally damaged. So no matter what you say to them, they're just like, no, you're not fine. I'm like,
right. It's in one ear and right out the other.
Well, it's how are you going to tell me how I feel? You don't know how I feel. Trust me. If I wanted to kill myself, there's other ways I can kill myself here. I could just crack my head on the floor if I wanted to, or just hold my breath until I pass out. Like there's plenty of ways to do that. And I didn't want to. And then my mom used those situations as a way to be like, oh, we can't make it to court because this happened. And then eventually the judge was like, this has happened like 4 times. I don't care. Custody to Ken Eichmann. So I came. They found us.
Okay. So I thought maybe that because they caught you, that was going to be the stem of like they're going to give you with your dad now because she lost track of you. It's not the parent's not attending their child. Boom, he's going over. But instead, she just didn't. She never showed up to court. She was
just like,
they were like, all right, never mind.
The judge was an old dude. He was like tired of
Illinois to start the rest of your life.
Pretty much, I went from being dude. It was like a fucking movie. They had like 7 cops there, which I was like, why do they need 7 cops for a 5'5", 120-pound woman? But anyways, we were hiding under the bed when the cops got there, and they're like shining the lights in the windows, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then they're like, Michelle, we're gonna pick up the kid. And I remember my mom was like just crying her eyes out, and I think she was more or less just felt bad that I guess she felt maybe she was disappointing me. I don't really know what it was, but I went from being there to 2 days later on an airplane to February 1st, 2004, stepping foot in my parents' house and being like, I live here now.
Yeah, with you saying like inherently like within your soul things are bad. Do you think your mom ever knew what she was doing with you was not the right thing?
A mixture of both. I think my mother had undiagnosed mental disorders.
Yeah.
I think she was ADD and ADHD, and she was born in 1955. They didn't know anything about that. Same with my father. I think they just, these kids ain't right, so they just fucking tie you down somewhere or hit you or whatever the hell they would do. But there's stories. My aunt tells me stories with my mom because my mom was the oldest out of her siblings. That she left in '69 for 6 months. She went to Woodstock, the festival, and lived in New York. They found my great uncle found her because he was a cop in some place in Soho in New York with like 4 dudes. Like hanging out with them and shit like that. She's 14 years old. So she was always a rebellious kind of person.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of things going wrong. She wasn't. We found out later, and it was always a rumor. Who she thought was her father wasn't her father. My grandmother had an affair before she got married to who I thought was my grandfather. So she never met her real father. So there was always that chip on her shoulder. And I think just undiagnosed mental disorders combined with years of drug use. I think she knew things were wrong, but again, you have to do what you have to do to survive in the situation that you're in. Just some people, when they have everybody's dealt different cards, and how you play them is how you play them. Everybody will have, it's amazing. You can have a conversation and put you and I or anybody in the same situation, and I might have an idea that's so far different from yours, and vice versa, at how to fix the situation.
Yeah.
And I think my take it as it comes mentality that I've always had in my life is what kept me from losing my mind at an early age and being in a situation where, because I did battle with drugs later in life. But I think what kept me like in a straight and narrow path is realizing you have to take things as they come, and you can prepare for things, but you can never 100% be prepared for something.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on it. And like I said, I think you handle it better than most because I think most people would have went down the path of just continuing the thievery, continuing manipulating motherfuckers.
If I would have stayed with her, she would have, because she would have known that I, could do this stuff really well. I'm sure I would have ended up going to jail.
Yeah, I think you left at you got saved in a sense at the right time, and luckily for you, your dad just couldn't live with himself and was like, I gotta get my kid, I gotta find him, I gotta know where.
And he still gets, he's like, even he's retiring, and they're moving. My stepmom and him are moving, and he's like freaking out about that too because he hasn't been away from me since he got custody of me.
Yeah.
And the guy's a G because the first 2 years I was there, he leaves at 4:45 every morning for his job. I would catch him every morning. He would sit there, open my door, and just look at me in bed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't weird or creepy. It was just he was amazed.
Admiration of like a father. It's he got his baby back. He got his kid. Man, he's something he lost. It's like when you're actually a true high moral man, like he is, like himself. You can't live with yourself when there's something out there. There's obviously dirtbag fathers that don't give a fuck about their own blood, which is fucked up. But like with him, he's obviously a great man. The reason him staring at you is like he finally found what he was missing. There was a part of him missing. A part of his soul was missing, and he finally got it back. And he just, thank God.
I mean, it took him. Let's see. I was 6, so probably 5 years.
Yeah.
4 years to see me, 5 years to get custody of me.
Fucking hell.
And yeah, it was a really it was the first time I ever experienced a situation where if you really want something, it'll happen.
Yeah.
My life was full of a lot of failures. My mom was a big talker. She would always talk about all these grandiose things she was going to do, and she never fucking did them. And I grew up a lot of my early life with that, and I thought that that's how life was. So you get lucky or you don't get lucky, and I couldn't figure out why these things that I wanted to happen for me weren't happening because I wasn't putting any effort into them. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And my father was the I guess the biggest example of like, if you want something, go and get it. My dad left his house at 17 years old, lived in a car, and had his 2 basses, an amp, 2 pairs of jeans, and some shoes, and that was his day. And, and then my father giving it all he could to get me here just showed me that if you're persistent enough, if you don't stop, if you don't lose faith in anything, it'll happen. It's not going to happen on your terms. It never does. It's not going to happen when you want it to. But I damn well believe that it will happen. I mean, we were just talking about Jelly Roll. Dude, that guy put out his first fucking song in 2009. Just now, the past 2 years, he's starting to blow up.
Right.
Now, he's probably part of the weird pedo bullshit. I don't know. I hope not. But at the end of the day, or he probably sold his soul to Satan or whatever the fuck those people do. But at the end of the day, the guy put in time and work and just never gave up on what he wanted to do. And that to me is such an inspiration of just anything. If you want to be the teacher and you decide you want to be that, go out there and fucking do it and be the best teacher you can be. If you want to be a fighter, go out there and be the best fighter you can be. The worst person in the world is the person that never tries. Because, and I know I'm going to put my hat on here, but a real loser is someone that's so fucking afraid of losing that they don't even fucking try.
Yeah.
That's a real loser. That's a failure.
You miss 100% of the shots you never shoot for, so fucking.
And I think if my father could have said, fuck it, my mom made it hard, man. I didn't get to testify that I wanted to be here until I was a freshman.
Yeah.
And that was really, really hard being in a room looking at my mom in the face and being like, I love you, but you cannot provide the life for me that my father can.
Yeah.
And her justification was, well, you've just been here for so long, you've built up a friendship. I'm like, exactly. I built up friendships with people. I built a life here. I never lived anywhere with my mom more than 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months. I had to make new friends all the time, make new people. And a lot of people didn't like me because I grew up very fast. At an age of an 8-year-old, I had the cognitive ability of someone that was in like high school, just the things that I've experienced, the way I talk, the things I thought about, and that's not right. I don't think I had the proper development as a child should have because my mom started getting me. As soon as she knew that I had the ability to talk to people and wasn't afraid, she dug into the whole, let's make him, do my little schemes, my little things.
Right.
I used to steal wallets from people, all sorts of fucked up shit.
All fucking shit, all fucked up, man. All right, well, coming to a break real quick here. The childhood of Zakariah Hezekiah. You sit right there, and we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome fucking back. Just hanging out. We just went over the extended childhood of Zakariah Hezekiah here. A bit of a story my man has, and goddamn, it takes the strength of an immortal himself to get through it.
I'm all right.
Jokes around here, but all right, getting into other things here. I guess we'll go on to Zach. Zach's a little bit of a drummer. He's a little drummer boy. With that, man, because I know we didn't. I don't know. Obviously, you probably didn't have the means to play when you were with your mom, and obviously, you being the drummer you are today, and you're fucking probably the best I've ever fucking known, And I guess I don't know much drummers, but if I had to say, looking at YouTube and other videos I've seen, you're right up there with the fucking greats.
Thank you, man.
When did that all come into play?
Well, Well, my father lived in Florida. My father was, like I said, musically inclined. He noticed that I loved music. Like, he would always play for me, take me to his gigs, take me to his practices, take me to concerts. I went to a lot of concerts when I was a kid when I was really young, dude. Like I would go. I remember I saw. If you could see that Kiss, I saw them when I was 6 years old, fucking front row with my dad. When you're a little kid and you see these guys with their fucking platform boots and their makeup and they're playing, rock now that they're kind of shitty. But at the end of the day, it blows your mind with that. They were like my favorite band when I was a little kid. So just things like that. My father, when I was 18 months old, noticed that I understood what this was. And I could do that naturally with music. And I gravitated towards it. I always wanted to be at my dad's practices. And then one day I just got on a kit and I just started playing. Like I just figured. I remember my dad told me I was watching the dude that he had in his band playing drums, and they went and took like a drink break or something.
Yeah.
And I just went on there, and they were like, "Who's playing right now?" And then it was me.
How old were you?
I was probably about 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
But I was I would have to lower the seat down, and like I would be doing this. Like it was very hard. I think that's why I developed the foot style I have of doing this rather than playing with my actual foot, because when I was a little kid, that's how I had to play because I was so short.
Okay.
And then my dad bought me a kit that was relative to my size. And I just started playing there. And then when my dad and him split, or totally, like my dad left and my mom was done with that and he moved to Illinois, she sold my drum set.
All right. So it started at a young age and then it kind of got away.
It did, but I still played I played on my thighs when we would listen to music in cars.
Yeah. You were out with the 5-gallon paint cans like the black men.
I have done that. I never went out for money for that. I have done that, but it was mainly whenever we would drive and listen to music, because my mom was a big music person, I would play on my thighs. I would, do this, play and just try to learn how to play. And that, I guess, kept it going.
Yeah.
And then, I didn't have a drum set for a long time, but I still did that. Had a pair of sticks. And then, I don't know, my dad got custody of me, and the first thing he did buy me, he had for me was a drum set, and I just never looked back. I was 11 years old. So I would say from about 3 to 5, 3 to 6, and then from about 11 till now, I've been playing.
Fucking hell, man. Wild. I guess from that, getting into kind of, maybe we'll go down a little bit of a spiritual route here, or whatever you want to call it. Do you believe these certain things, they all happen like it was your path? Do you believe in this whole everything was made to be the way it is and you were supposed to walk down this path? You're supposed to be here. I think your dad coming back to you getting blessed with that, was it all supposed to happen?
I think that everybody has a path. I think people get caught up so much on the destination.
Yeah.
And it's not really about that. It's about the journey. The destination is going to be whatever it's going to be. I believe there are NPC people that are here that are just here to fill it. You're going to be a homeless guy. That's who you're going to be. You're going to be this. You're going to be that. But necessarily, I don't think that's necessarily 100% true. I think that there's a million outcomes for each person. I believe that there are set outcomes based on the lessons that you choose to ignore or learn from in life. So you could go this direction and be like, I keep spending my money in gambling. I'm going to keep gambling.
Yeah.
And then it leads to whatever direction you're going to go if you lead that life and don't listen to that lesson. But let's just say, you know what? I like gambling, but I didn't realize I'm losing money. I'm going to learn more about finances. And you go from there and move on to whatever path you go from there. And I do believe that everybody has their path. You have choices.
Yeah.
You have choices that will lead up to an ultimate situation, and sometimes it's good or sometimes it's bad. But I think really life's about paying attention to lessons that you have in life. Because and I'm sure if you really think back, even you, anybody out there in YouTube world, think about situations you've ever been in. Those situations you're faced again in life. Again, in a very similar situation, you'll be put in there again, and it'll be life kind of being like, let's see if you really learned, and let's see how you're going to fix it or do better, or how you're going to be a better person. And, I've definitely, when I've sat back and recognized that, I've definitely, every day, there's been situations where I've had the same situation happen, and I did this, and it worked out horribly. But then it happens again, and I say, I'm going to try this, and it ends up working out the right way. Like, for instance, my job. For probably 2 years, I hated what I was doing for a living, selling cars. I hated it. But, I kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and wonder why I was depressed every day, why I was upset, why I would go from a good mood, and then as soon as I walk in that place, instantly feel like a bag of shit. That's not normal.
So with that question, do you believe in the intervention of God? Say there is a God, or do you believe in God?
I believe in gods. I believe in God. I believe in very much.
So how about instead of the word God, because I understand what you're saying with gods. There's the Greek mythology, all this stuff, a higher being in a sense. But do you believe in the Creator of all, the one that created everything?
Yeah, I believe that there's a truth to that. I don't know necessarily if it's the judo Judeo-Abrahamic or Abrahamic Judeo-Christian ideology of that kind of stuff, or if it's the Muslim ideology, which we're finding out now might have even been invented by the Catholics to push people away from other things and only go to Catholicism.
Right.
I mean, it could be a lot of things. But I do believe that there are divine intervention. I think it's mostly the universe. I think the universe makes things very difficult for you depending on what you're doing, and if you're not doing what the universe wants you to do, you will be penalized for it. I do 100% believe that, or you'll be rewarded.
That you're basically supposed to stay on your path.
Oh yeah, staying in your lane is a very loaded.
How do you think you know that though? How do you think you know you're on your path? You're walking the right path here, and
when people don't know what you're doing and you haven't interacted with a bunch of people, I do believe you're on the right path. When you are, or a very select few of people, when you're going monk mode, so to say, on some kind of topic or some kind of situation, full sending something, as they say these days, that's when I believe you're truly doing what you're supposed to do, because it becomes easy.
Yeah.
When something becomes such an unconscious love and you don't want to do anything else but do. I mean, the problem we have today is we have these people thinking that waking up at 4 a.m., running 5 miles, and drinking green juices is going to be the way to get them where they want to be in life. Yet they wake up and they're still depressed. That's not it. Do you think when people were being successful, do you think Jeff Bezos was waking up and buying a $5 green juice when he was blowing up Amazon? No, he was missing fucking meals, probably fucking working as hard as he could until he couldn't hold his piss in anymore to take a 2-minute break to piss. That's what you have to do. That when you're willing to die for something, and the universe recognizes that, that's when you'll have your breakthrough moment. That's when the intervention comes through.
Okay.
I don't believe that, I believe that things come easier to some people, but that's just the surface. You don't know. And, that goes, there's other ways you can go into that, but I do believe that when you're willing to die for something and full send something, that's when the universe gets involved and we'll say, okay, we're going to give you a break.
Okay.
But that's where it goes into my thing of like, it's not going to happen in one day. It's not going to happen when you want it to. It's going to happen when the universe wants it to happen.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. All right, let's get into some little funky questions here. Just thinking about these things. Say you were the ruler of this world. You got to decide a lot of things. You got to decide. You weren't just the president of the United States because, as we all know, he probably doesn't control most of the things. He's just a little fucking puppet. Say you're the ruler of the world. Ruler of the world. What's the first thing you're doing? Ooh.
I don't know, man.
Spicy.
I don't believe in peace on earth.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I think it's a made up.
I think war is a necessity. I believe that there's a poetic. There's something poetic about being a warrior and fighting. I don't believe in this whole hippy dippy one world. We're all one everything. No, we're not. We're not one everything. I'm not like this next person. They're not like me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's like false individualism. We live in a very weird world where it's like you got to be an individual, but you got to accept everybody. And so, well, how am I supposed to be an individual if I'm not like that person?
Yeah.
And then you got this fucking country where you got people saying you got to wake up, but if you're woke, you're bad. It's like, well, if I'm woke, then I'm not awake. But if I'm awake, I'm woke. What the fuck is going on? Like I've never understood how retarded that is. It's like it's bad to be woke, but America's got to wake up. It's like, well, if I'm already woke, then what is going on? It's like a never-ending battle, like in my head. I'm selfish, so am I still friends with you guys? Am I friends with you guys before this happens, or am I just rule the world and you guys are just players in the play?
The question turns. Let's see. No, let's say we're not a part of it.
Oh,
let's say your friends aren't a part of it. It's you as a being.
I would first of all, I don't know, man, because it's hard because ignorance is bliss, and you can't let everybody know everything.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to be the knower of all and be able to tell everybody about what we've been lied to about and what's the truth and what's not the truth. But the problem is that individually, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, people are okay.
Yeah.
You and I can handle some crazy information. Even you and I and Jay can handle some crazy information. But if there's a city of, let's say, Chicago-esque, was that 10 million people? Maybe less. You can't tell me that, pardon me, all 10 million of those people can handle some really heavy shit. Most likely, 8 to 9 million of those people could not handle anything more than, well, they made a new bread. You know what I mean? Like that. Like that is like the apex of what they can handle. So imagine telling them that we're lied to about everything that we've ever been taught, that every religion is a bunch of bullshit, that dinosaurs didn't exist, that everything that we've always wanted, that we've been told is true, is not true. That shit's scary. Yeah. And that shit makes people question their entire ideology, their entire moral compass, everything. Right. Some people design their entire lives based on Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, any of that kind of stuff. They basically put up their whole life around that, and being told, let's say that's all a bunch of bullshit. That's very, very scary for some people.
Right.
So I don't know if I'd want to do that. That's a very, very good question.
You think you'd start wiping out people?
I guess it depends on what kind of people I'm wiping out. If
Say-
it was those people barking at those fucking people like in Poland, yes, there'd be a big just blast of those.
That phrase, "this only the strong survive." Do you think you'd?
I 100% believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that we have a very odd situation going on in our world today, where the people that shouldn't have a voice over the people that really should have a voice. That goes into my situation where I believe democracy is a sham.
Yeah.
Because you have people that are part of making a decision that should not have be a part of fucking anything at all. I remember. One time, this is years ago, back when I was a good boy and I ate McDonald's all the time. I was at McDonald's and they just put at those kiosks and those ones you can self-serve and everything.
Right.
And I remember this one lady walked up. She's like, "Hey, do you need any help with the kiosk?" I'm like, "No, I got it here. Thanks, sweetheart." And she's like, "Okay, it's fine." And she's like, "Oh, these things are awesome. They make my job just so much easier." I remember when she said it to me, I looked at her. I said, "Okay." And I wasn't mean to her, but I looked at the shit I voted sticker on. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this fucking bitch is too dumb to realize that this machine is slowly replacing her because it's basically free labor at the end of the day once you pay off the machine, which probably doesn't take that much time with how big McDonald's is. And she voted.
Yeah.
This lady thinks, which I don't think it matters, but still thinks that she's should be a part of who's going to run this country and run everything. Excuse me?
Yeah.
I don't think fucking so. Sorry.
Do you think the majority of civilization is heading towards that route of basically just kind of being lazy, not even knowing what's coming to them, not knowing
I think they're
what's
already
about
there,
to happen?
bro.
You think we're already there?
Look how easily people just believe whatever that. Look how COVID, man.
Right.
Look at how many people when I said one thing attacked me.
Yeah.
And all those people that attacked me are all on the same side as me now
Okay.
because it eventually becomes ridiculous. I would like to say that the problem with always wanting to know the truth, it makes you an ultimate skeptic on everything. So everything that I'm ever told, I always ask why and always are always very skeptical about it. And I had people literally threatening my life, threatening my job, complaining about my job just because I was like, I don't want to fucking wear a mask. I'm not. If I get sick, that's on me.
Right.
And look how easily people fell in line. People getting their 5th, 6th booster.
Right.
And then wondering why they're like shitting out their asshole randomly. Why they have narcolepsy now. Why they have their heart. They have palpitations. Why they can't do the things they used to do before. Doesn't that make you fucking feel weird?
Yeah,
And then you question about it, and they're just like, "Oh, that's impossible," because mommy, daddy, aka the government, said it's okay.
Okay. Well, let's manipulate the question a little bit. Say you had a magical button, and it could reset. You could reset. We'll give it. You could cut the world population down 75%. So
Like a billion people.
Yeah. No. Say we can cut it. We cut it down to 25%. Would you hit it?
So
Would you hit
we
that
have
button?
what, like 3 billion people in the world then? 2 billion people?
Yeah, I guess
mean,
around there. I'm not good with percentage, but we could say, we have 3
So do I get to choose who those people are? Or I just
Yeah, you get to choose between you'd hit the button.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'm a part of those people if I'm saying that. I don't know. But I will say that, yeah. I mean, I don't believe in overpopulation that much. But I will say that there are some people that are here in this world where I'm just like, yeah, dude. It's like,
You think there's too many. So with that, then, another little question, then, do you still have faith in humanity and what humanity has left?
I have a faith in certain people of humanity, but I don't have faith in much because...
As humanity as a whole, though, it's...
Not really.
No.
But it's these aren't things people worry about, man. People don't care about these things, and that's the way the world is set up these days. They don't want you to think about these things. They don't want you to think about if you're really doing good or bad for yourself.
Right.
They don't want you to think about your dreams and your aspirations. They want you watching your Sunday football, eating your chicken wings, and shutting the fuck up.
Right. Yep.
Voting when you're supposed to vote, going to work when you're supposed to work, putting your weird fucking boomer comments on Facebook and going from there. And I think what we're seeing here in society these days is that a lot of people in our generation and the Zoomer generation ahead of us are kind of like, we've seen this, and this is horrible.
Yeah.
It leads me to where when I used to sell cars, I would sell these like 80-year-old people a Cadillac, and they'd be like, 70,000, that's more than my first house. And I just want to drown them in a fucking pool till the bubble stop. It's like you should have bought every fucking house. But, back in those days, your dad could be a fucking a post office, a mail guy, and your mom could stay at home, raise 2 kids. You guys go on vacations. Kid can go to college, no problems. You can't do that anymore. And then like our parents, the Gen Xers, saw their boomer parents get these things, and they worked their ass off for 35 years, and they're barely getting the things that they're promised. So our generation, the generation ahead of us, sees what the fuck is that all about?
Right.
Why the fuck would I want to work that? That's why our generation is the big of like I do e-commerce. I have 4 different streams of income. I have all these things because we don't want to fucking work for a company for 45 years for them to be like, have a good one, Kyle.
Right.
Here's a watch. Like, what is that going to do for you? So I think that we're dealing with a time where there's a big split and where our generation and the generation after that is starting to concentrate more on those kind of questions about life.
Okay. I gotcha. So with going towards that, I know on other podcasts we've talked into religion and how it kind of fucks with people's heads sometimes. Say you could get rid of all religion. Would you get rid of it all? Or would you keep one?
Well, first of all, I would break down the most realistic religion. Now, the oldest religions ever, the Hellenic religions of Greece, Indian religions, those are all the Chinese religions are all the oldest religions ever. They existed. They're the first ones to write things down and stuff. And even Egyptian culture. And all of them have, why is it that all of these religions tell the same stories with multiple gods, and these gods the only thing that's different about them is their names?
Yeah.
Why are they all doing that? But at the same time, there's religions after that creating one God.
Yeah.
I'm the one guy. I believe everything.
Right.
If you don't believe in me, I'm gonna fucking look at God in the Old Testament, dude. He's like he's brutal, dude.
Right.
If
Yeah.
you don't believe in me,
Turn
well,
motherfuckers into salt.
yeah, dude. If you don't believe in me, poof, like you're salt now. But then you go to the New Testament, and God took a fucking Valium, and he's chilling out, and he's cool, and everything's fine. He brings Jesus over here, and Jesus says, "Just follow me, guys. We're good."
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me. But then you have people that will sit there and tell me that I'm crazy. But if you could believe in a virgin mother having a baby that God gave her, at the same time having a husband, Joseph, who's a carpenter, you think that's more crazier than some of the stories in Greek mythology?
Right.
Sorry, the other way around. Those stories of Greek mythology are crazier than the story of Jesus Christ. That's crazy. How you can't say that you can have faith in that, but not faith in that.
Right.
It makes no sense to me. I believe, and I've talked about this archetypes. I believe that Jesus is an archetype, an idea of how divine a person can be, how good you can really be. And a lot of people in history are like that. There are many prophets that were like that. Many great saints in the past were like that. And even in Greek mythology, there are people that are like that. And there are ideas of what you can really do as a person. And I think that if you devote your entire being into one person and one idea, you're just going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I've met so many hypocrites that were Christians.
Right.
So many hypocrites that were Catholics.
Okay.
Look at the Catholic Church right now in general. The fucking priest bullshit. Those guys are pedos, fucking little kids, man.
Right. Not all of them.
Not all of them. And there are again. It would.
But I can understand. I mean, they move them around. They send them over to the Vatican. The Vatican in itself is its own state, its own country. That whole place. No one can go in there and get them.
And they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, and they don't pay any taxes. So it's like, what's going on here, man?
You get to rape kids, not pay taxes. Like, wow.
Yeah. No, it's fucked up.
And so I would probably break it down to one religion. I don't know what would it be, but it would definitely be a
Would you go
polytheistic religion.
Okay, you would get out of this one God religion.
Oh yeah,
one God.
I believe that there might be a Zeus-esque character that is the king of the gods, but I believe that there are many gods that do different things and are involved in different things. And I've never felt my whole life I've felt I've been through a lot of religions. Like I said, my mother was involved in Wicca and would take me to these churches that were fucking weird. And these people were really just kind of there to be like, they just wanted to reenact Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it seemed. They were, it's like, you weren't like fucking, you're not a real witch. And then I grew up with Christianity with my parents here and everything. And, I've taken little bits of everything. But the only one that recently in the past 4 years, what made the most sense to me is Greek mythology. Yeah. Even the Indian religious texts are very important to me too. I haven't read every single one of them. I'm not an expert, not going to claim to be. I'm not a yogi or any of those kind of things. Mm-hmm. But I will say that the wisdom that you can learn from those things to me makes more sense than a lot of the stuff in the Bible. I believe honestly the Old Testament is the devil. I believe that is because a true God isn't going to be jealous. These are the God in the Bible is very much very much pushing human emotions. If you're a celestial, all-knowing, doesn't exceeds the idea of time. Time doesn't even exist to him,
right?
Or her, or whatever the situation is. Why the fuck would he be jealous of anything that you do? Why would he care if you only worship him? That doesn't happen really in the New Testament. Whereas like Jesus is like, yeah, you can worship him if you want to. You know, it's not going to be good for you in the end, but do whatever you want. Whereas in like the Old Testament, he's like, listen, motherfucker, if you don't fucking listen to me, I'm going to fucking kill you. Put locusts in your house. Like it's like whoa, you know.
Right.
And that just seems to me like a very man-made situation. Again, I think it has a lot to do with. I think that is the devil.
Okay.
I mean, even there's even like stories about Yahweh, which is God in the Bible. Really being Belial, which Belial is a devil.
Yeah. I guess this concerns,
Belial,
this
sorry.
next question concerns of like faith. So when it goes to like, we just need to have faith. There's no need to be real truth evidence. We don't need to be able to look. We should just be happy that something created us and that we should have faith and love this thing, love this being that made us and whatnot. If we go back to the tree on Eden, eating the fruit, being tempted and eating the fruit, how we should have just sat, not have because it was the tree of knowledge. She ate the tree of knowledge. We got knowledge. We got truth on how we were seeking. Take it away. Do you think with faith is faith real? Should we believe it? Should we just sit there, be good, have faith, believe in this Lord, and just it is? And with that, it comes the question of free will. Is there free will here then? If there's really that.
I'm going to answer your question with a question to begin with.
Nice.
Show me love.
Yeah.
Show not like the act of it, not
Right.
you and I dapping it up or you kissing your wife or your girlfriend or anything like that. Show me love. Pull out a chunk of love, put it right next to me.
Okay.
Can you do that?
No.
Can you do that with anything like that? Can you show me hope? Show me hope without the act of hope or someone sitting there. You can't break these things down. So I do believe that you have to have a faith. Faith is a real thing.
Okay.
There are things that you can, that's a desk, that's a chair, that's a light, that's a camera, this is a microphone.
Yeah.
You can hold these things. But there are certain emotions, things that we feel in life that you just can't, you can show the act of, but you can't necessarily show a real object of. You really can't show, you can't show love.
Yeah.
I think that you have to have faith. I think we should be happy that we are here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is importance in digging into the text and really kind of critically thinking, does this make sense?
Yeah, like in a general question, I guess, because I know that kind of got a little complicated. I went all the way around in my brain and then right back to it. But should we be searching? Should we be searching? Everybody's looking for aliens nowadays. Everyone's looking for these interdimensional beasts. There's atheists. Where's God? Where is this? Everyone should we actually be looking for these things? Or should we just be sitting here pretty and having our faith?
I think that the universe will give that information to certain people for them to spread it.
Yeah.
I.e., a lot of the philosophers from ancient times, a lot of those people. That's why there's one Socrates, there's one Aristotle, there's one Plato, there's one Friedrich Nietzsche, there's one all those people, and they're one in billions of people. There's not anybody that's ever going to be like them. I think those people were chosen by the gods to relay certain information, and then there's some people that shouldn't. There's people that shouldn't know these things. There are people that are retarded that shouldn't know about these things and shouldn't have to know these things. And I'm not saying retarded as in extra chromios. I'm talking like, just like people that are just not with it, that don't need to know these things. That's why I get annoyed with this whole one world stuff. It's like, no, there are some people that are not like me. Aren't going to be doing what I can be doing. And there's some people that even when I'm not trying, I'm doing better than they are. And there's people that are doing better than me when they're not trying. It's just how life is. I don't make these decisions. Some people are selected to be great, and some people aren't.
Right. Cool. Awesome, man. One last question before we get out of here. This one's just going to be a funny one. If you could give, say everyone had the same superpower as Superman, would you give everybody that superpower if you could?
Well, it wouldn't be a superpower if everybody had it, would it?
Right, exactly. But say we could
power.
switch right now, and everybody knew the life they lived now, being the weak, sensitive, fucking tender little being we are. But now we woke up tomorrow, super speed, super strength, metal for skin. We could fly. We had heat vision.
Everyone?
We could see through everyone. Would you give it to us?
Probably not.
No?
Because, again, it wouldn't be super. It wouldn't be special. You'd be like everybody else.
It would be special for a while because you wake
guess.
up and now you're like, whoa, and you're like, whoa. Okay.
But there again, and you said that brings it. Again, there are some people. There has to be a balance.
Yeah.
There can't be everybody doing everything. That's why peace on earth is a bunch of fucking bullshit. Because
Don't you think that would whittle down the population?
I mean, I guess, but again, what if
you could make a superior race out of that? Like,
you could make a superior race, but if we were all like that, they wouldn't be superior.
There's a comic book that has Viltrumites in it. It's Invincible. It's a comic book called Invincible, and there's a Viltrumite.
Is that correlate from that movie Invincible with the guy who's like
No. It's a comic book. It's
Okay.
pretty cool. You should watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Give it a watch. So these Viltrumite civilization basically grew up having the powers of Superman. They all had this power, but there was a weaker version of these people, a more sensitive version of these people. So the head honcho of this civilization said, we're going to have a civil war, and we're going to dwindle down the weak, and the strong is going to survive, and we're going to spread throughout the universe. So that's what they did. They had an interplanetary battle. They killed off all the weak ones, and all the strong ones survived, and they evolved outwards. And they made a whole civilization. Now, don't be wrong, I know I'm living in fantasy land over here with this, but why not? Why not? If you said you were cool with pushing that button to hitting down to keeping the people that you want, why not give the power of all that and have
it would come down to it would come down to how your cognitive ability. It would come down to how much of a scumbag are you?
Yeah.
How far are you willing to go? Are you willing to, let's say I'm one of the weak ones, are you willing to kill me because of that? Or am I willing to kill you because of that?
Right.
That's where you have to go into that aspect. I hate when I get these conversations about weak and strong. It makes me feel like I'm a bro, and it's not that. It's just that there are some people that you're bringing us down, bro.
Right.
And maybe I'm one of those people. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. But usually when the lot believes something, it's the wrong thing to believe. You brought up a lot of intellectuals, especially people that are college educated, because they think they have a degree, they know what they're talking about, and it's just like, dude, I've met some really dumb people, man, that have no idea, but they got a psychology degree. They got that degree in liberal arts. They got that degree. Even I've met doctors that don't know anything.
Yeah.
I've met a doctor that told me he doesn't read.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of grades did you get in school then, man? And I was like, I know you're a doctor, you got things going on, but it's like, does that mean when you get the degree, I am the smartest man? Right. I don't need to learn anymore. I'm done. I've done it all. It's like, no, dude. The part of life is there's everlasting learning. I've changed my body. I was 80 pounds heavier 3 years ago. I look totally different, I would say, from when I would be back then.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I've grown up too, but still, But man, I don't brag about that anymore because it's so. Everybody could do that.
Yeah.
Go to the gym. There are people that are doing the exact same thing that I do. Maybe not as hard as I do it, but there are guys that go there that look better than me that are way dumber than I am.
Yeah.
And I think that it makes more sense to strengthen your brain and your soul, to brag about that. And whether that be you giving it all to a certain goal in life, you giving it all to being a father, to being a friend, or whatever, I'll respect that person over some guy that has fucking graduated cum laude from his fucking his college, has got a degree and everything, and is ready to go. Because life will give you everything you need to know. And I just feel that when I've had to battle or argue with people like that, this whole stance on authority.
Yeah.
It's the worst way to do things because you could tell them you've never been in a class that you got in the same grade as someone else, but probably didn't agree with them or maybe thought they were dumb. I've been in school with people that got better grades than me, and I'm telling you right now, if we had a sit down talk, they would be that's what it would be like talking to them.
Yeah.
And it's like I love Sean. I grew up with him. I love your brother. He's like a brother to me, I would say at this point. But he automatically started shitting on me because of the dinosaurs talk. And it's like, okay, well then, have you really broken down the idea? Like when you look at a T-Rex, it does not physically make sense. It would never work in real life. And, again, it's just another way to blind you. It's a way to get you looking at something like, why do we have to learn about lizards that were here? What is that going to do for us? Are you part lizard?
Right.
Like, it's like, what is
Might be.
like a T-Rex. You're sitting there like this. If you were like that T-Rex, if you were like a fucking Velociraptor, like in Jurassic Park, I'd be fucked, dude. I'm not getting over there. I'm not getting over there before you get to me. Like, there's no way. Clever guy. Automatically out of 10. But no, but then it's like you talked about why certain people shouldn't do certain things, and that's another thing. Why are we looking at dinosaurs? Why are we looking at any of those? What is that going to do for us? Oh, we figured out from dinosaurs this, and this. It's like, okay, well, I'm not a reptile. I'm not an amphibian. I'm a mammal. It doesn't help me. It would make more sense for you to look at a woolly mammoth or look at a saber-toothed tiger or a werebear or a giant sloth.
Right.
Not fucking velociraptor that has feathers but doesn't have feathers. Might have feathers. Might be 6 feet tall. Might be 2 inches tall. They don't fucking know. Steven Spielberg with his fucking velociraptors, you find out those aren't even real dinosaurs. It's a mixture of two dinosaurs that they say existed. And then you look at the dinosaurs from years ago.
Chickens came from them.
Yes. Or that they say a wolf became a whale. Yeah. Well, what? Yeah. Why did that happen? And how many years did that take for that wolf to be like, I gotta fucking start. I can't fucking swim normally. I gotta start figuring this out, man. And they say like a blue. It was like a humpback whale or something like that is related to it has a ancestor of a wolf or a canine.
Yeah.
How has that happened? Please tell me you get a fucking square from a triangle. Yeah. I really want to know.
Perfect.
And I think that's where. People get so hell bent that this guy with a PhD he wrote this book, so he knows what he's talking about. It's like, I don't believe
Gotcha.
that. He learned from a school that let him learn what they wanted him to learn.
Cool. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end it right there. I love it. We'll give one last thing. If you can give just one piece of advice to the audience, give it to them. Just one little piece.
Give me a second here.
No problem.
Little pieces can be big, take big
Little
time.
pieces can be big things.
I guess it goes back to my original point. Never stop growing spiritually and intellectually. Never feel like you've learned enough. Always explore. Always try to even if it's something that you don't want, because I one time heard a quote that everything you've ever wanted is usually on the side of the things you'll never try. And I think that's 100% something that everybody should take seriously.
Open your ears, people, and open your fucking eyes. It's been another episode of Just Hanging Out. Cowboy the Cowboy, Kyle fucking Hurley, and Zakariah Hezekiah.
You know what's good, baby? The one, the prophecy.
Aha. Until next time.
I'm mainly known for the rough raps, but kids steal my lyrics like hubcaps and eat them like stacks of flapjacks like rugrats. Hey, and I get busy over unknown traps while the next man flaps his lips like parquet.